everything really affects everyone. Nabilah, Chowdhury, and I use she, her pronouns. I am in my third year. I'm doing a Bachelor of Science in Wildlife Conservation with the Chowdhury stream and a Bachelor of Advanced Studies in International Relations. Naturally Nabilah.
Naturally Nabilah?
Yes. Jenna Ritchie. I am running as an independent, but I have been in grassroots previously. Yes, I'm part of the Greens. I'm a very left-leaning politics person, as the Greens show that as well. I did vote no towards the last SGM, but that was because of the change in governments, not so much the incorporation. If it was just basis of the incorporation, I would have voted yes, but because of the change in governments and changing the amount of people, and it shows a lack of kind of democracy in student leadership, and it also was so close to the USU election this time round, where it wasn't, to my eyes, it wasn't very clear, it wasn't very transparent. So I felt like if it was more clearer way beforehand, maybe the result would have been different. I'm in quite a few clubs and societies. In SUNS, the Sydney Model UN Society, I'm very active in there. I'm in the Greens Society. I'm trying to think. Sometimes dabble in the Young Diplomats. I'm in the Wildlife Society as well. I also, out of societies, I've been in the fencing club at University of Sydney and also the Taronga Zoo student representatives. In SRC, I was Global Solidarity Officer last year, and in clubs and societies for SUNS this year I'm Education Officer, and last year I was on the General Executive. It really depends. I think there's been quite a lot of times where the USU it's been quite troublesome getting funding, and sometimes it isn't as transparent as lots of executives would like it to be. I think the USU board could have lots of impact on the student community. I feel like if they take a more political stance, and if I'm trying to think what I want to say, sorry. I think if USU were to be more political, because there is the cost of living crisis that affects students, the federal election coming up affects students, everything that's happening around the world currently in Australian politics does affect students, and affects international students, domestic students, affects everyone. So having more political stance and being more open to that in a way. I think politics should be a big part of USU. I think, as I said before, politics does affect students, and the USU is there to be there for students and really represent the students of the university. And I feel like things such as the cost of living crisis, climate change, all affect students very much so. It affects students through like being able to have rent. If you're living at home as well, like it affects you a lot with youth allowance, everything affects students quite a bit. I think that there's not much transparency, and I feel like having more transparency from the USU to clubs and societies, because I feel like, and also lots of things take a long time to process. So in my experience with SUNS, for example, it's very much, we were contacting the USU and there wasn't very much response for a really long time until we did get response, and sometimes that would take long to the point that our events have already passed by the time we do get those responses. I think once that happened, but yes, I do support that because they are students. Crisis of living is a very big thing, and not paying people who are doing labour, it does affect their ability to come and volunteer, because how are people able to volunteer? How are people able to be around if the crisis of living is so high? They might as well go get a job type of thing. Like, lots of people need to prioritize even working to doing classes at some points. I know lots of people who are taking part-time university because they can't afford to live on camp, to live full stop. Yeah. And I think being able to be paid is a very good incentive, and even if it's not as much as a paid job, I feel like whatever you can get, even if that's, I don't know if they do meal allowance or not, but I think even meal allowance would be great. Something would be amazing. I think with disposable, like being able to bring takeaway cups, it can be expanded. I feel like even having a bit of a bigger discount on that, because the price of coffee is like $4.80 at the moment, like $5, and I feel like it's, especially on a university campus, that is quite a lot to ask. So maybe even having from 30 cents to maybe 50, which makes quite a big of a difference, especially for people who drink coffee every day. I know that's quite a lot of us on campus, and sometimes lots of things aren't very known. Like, I know lots of people who didn't even know the food hub was a thing, and which is crazy to me because I feel like that should be a thing that everybody kind of knows about, and especially like international students, some of them, obviously it costs a lot to come to university, especially as an international student. Lots of them have not been told about, or maybe the advertising isn't as big, and lots of people don't know these fundings and free things are around for students to have. Having it like out there on socials much more, and being able to kind of communicate that. Also, I feel like, yeah, I think social media would be a very big thing. Emails as well would be a good thing for like USU members to get emails that, oh guys, the next month of Food Hub, even on the monthly newsletters that they give out, just having like a little bit at the very end with Food Hub, because lots of people don't know where it's located. Lots of people haven't even been to Wentworth Building. Like, I feel like if lots of people knew about it, even though the tickets do run out quite fast, lots of people would do it. Lots more people would go towards it, and having more funding for things like Food Hub would be amazing as well.
Do you use Food Hub yourself?
I personally don't, because I didn't know that existed until last year. I would use it. It's just that every time I check, it's all fully booked out, which is why I think there should be more funding, more hours being open, because it is open, I think, from 2 or 12 until, I think, 7 or something. And so having more funding for that and being able to maybe outreach to other organisations, like I think they have the expiry place in Newtown, something like that would be amazing. I personally am so sorry, I don't know where I'd get that funding from, but I think I'd need to do a bit more research into that personally. I think I'd need to do a bit more research. I think also being able to get even like going to outlets in like the USU outlets that have excess food, being able to bring those to Food Hub, like things at the end of the day you can't sell, and it's 7 p.m. you're going to shut your doors, but there's cupcakes and other things left over. You might as well give those things to Food Hub, where they have a different section in the day where it's like dinner food that even people on campus, international students who live on campus, people who live around, or even late class people can come in and get food like that.
To clarify, so that would mean that you would be encouraging Food Hub to start a different section of the day apart from their usual 11 to 2 o'clock hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go to Courtyard quite a bit.
And which USU service do you engage with most frequently?
I think clubs and societies is probably a big one for me. Also just the food outlets, because I am on campus quite a bit, and yeah. I think quite everything is very big to students. At the moment, Food Hub is quite a big one, I think. I think everything from the free, like tampons, pads in the toilets is very crucial for all students, and having a bigger political stance on certain things such as Opal cards for international students, concession Opal cards. I think everything is very crucial to students. I don't think there's one important thing because they intersect quite a lot. I think I'm pretty sure they added more menstrual products into toilets. I think that's one of the big ones that I've noticed personally. I think one of my big ambitious policies is probably Food Hub. I think that's a very big thing for me. I think also lots of the environmental policies are going to be quite big, such as the takeaway cups and stuff like that. I think there's quite a combination of all of them, like things from Gaza to crisis of living, the femicide at the moment, climate change, especially like the federal election coming up in like a few days. Everything really affects everyone, and yeah. I have, as I was part of grassroots, I was a bit involved in the what do you call it, encampment. I was never actually there sleeping the nights because I had quite a few things going on in my personal life, but I've been around for that. I do lots of things with climate change and environmental like policies and stuff, not so much in the student space but more so in the activism space in general. I ran for local government recently as well, so that's been a big part of my activism. I have more things activism wise outside of the university rather than inside the university at the moment.
Okay. How does that history of involvement and activism influence your campaign or the way that you think about the USU?
I think it really influences my campaign. I think everything that I've been able to learn from doing activism from the age of 9 has really affected the way I see things, the cost of living, and I feel like the transparency is a very big thing for the USU, and I think that the lack of transparency should be a bit more open, just because I feel like from even talking to even presidents of some clubs and societies, lots of people, and even from the last SGM, lots of people didn't know that SGM was going to happen, and they didn't know until they were at courtyard getting handed out little pamphlets, I'm pretty sure from you guys, and yeah, lots of people didn't know that was going on until then, which I think there needs to be much more transparency, and people weren't told what they were being voted, like until that time people didn't know what was kind of happening in the USU. I personally didn't even know that before I decided to run for USU. I didn't even know that was going to happen, like the SGM personally. I feel like more newsletters, more being able to outreach with people, being able to talk to people and tell them what's going on. I think even I feel like the email listing, being able to just give out more information on what's happening. I feel like it's not very well known sometimes what's happening with USU.
In terms of events or governance or something else?
Governance. Events is very well known, like Open Day, we all know when Open Day is happening and all the events, and I feel like they amplify the events more than what's happening internally. I feel like it should be much, especially because USU works for students, we should know what's happening in USU as students.
The boycott, divest.
Oh yes,
movement.
sorry. I am very much for the BDS movement. I've been involved with like Palestine activism since the age of 9. I've been very much at the protesting at 9 years old with my mother.
One of your policies is ethical superannuation to ensure that USU staff are registered with an ethical super fund.
Yes.
To our knowledge, APAN's superannuation campaign encourages people to demand their super fund divests instead of rolling over to a new one. We'd like to clarify, is your policy that new employees are registered with an ethical super?
Yes. I think talking about it, I think lots of the people who I do align with, who are running for USU, like policy-wise, they're also like, I can't answer that question, I'm sorry. I was a bit involved. I was dropping off food some days. I wasn't able to stay over because of other things that were going on in life. But yes. This is the one where you can't put posters up, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I have been involved. I've been involved through grassroots. I've been involved through Sons, very much against the campus policy. Yeah, so I was involved in I think they had a stall day where we put up stalls. I was there helping out with that. I feel like I'd be a Wobbly frog. Those are the yellow and black ones. I really love them.
Yeah, they're great.
It's hard. I'd be a bubble tea, I think.
Any particular kind of bubble tea?
Passion fruit. I like my QQ passion fruit bubble teas from.
And sugar and ice levels?
Sugar and ice levels, less sugar, less ice.
Would you have any toppings?
QQ passion fruit tea comes with pearls and coconut jelly, I believe so. I don't know what jelly, but it's some sort of jelly.
Alright.
Students will vote for me because I am for the students, and that I personally believe that lots of times people promise things that they won't go through for, and I think I will go through with everything I say. I will do.